Hello people. I can't look at you at the moment because I've done this. This is just my little experiment. That's right, yeah, just a little experiment. If I do that, keep doing that, I'll try to decide if I can live with it. And it's a bit, obviously, it's not going to stay like that. That's a bit too, it's a bit too village people for my liking. But I thought if I shave it like that, then I can mess around with it, you know, and see what's bearable. Because that you know, that's obviously that's as, you know, I can sort of cut into it. The only problem I have with this is that I now look a little bit too much like my dad, and I don't want to look like my dad. Thank you very much, because he's always had a moustache for as long as I can remember, and I've generally gone with the beard route. So now I look like my. He's not had like these dodgy village people handle by moustaches. He's generally had like a normal one, but yeah, I don't think I can hack it. Don't know. I might not be able to go out in public, and that's for good cause. But I've got no spine. Anyway, this is shockz16's tag. It did a really good tag. It's a bit late. I know it's a couple of days late. What's the date? It's 3rd of November. This is a Halloween tag. And it's about stuff that used to spook him, or you know, spooked him for his lifetime. It's like a sort of 10 things. He said it doesn't have to be 10. It can be more or less. But and there's no particular order either. It's just 10 things that have spooked you throughout your life. And I thought that'd be a good one for me. I think it got my mind going. And I've not done a tag in ages, but it got my mind going. Sorry. And I can think of, while I've been thinking about it, I've thought about way more than 10. And now I've decided to sit down and write them all down. I can only think of 10. And it was a bit of a struggle to get to 10, but it's slightly annoying. So when I wasn't trying to think, I was thinking of loads. But as it was, I've remembered some of the main ones, and I've got my little list there. But I'm going to crack on because otherwise it's going to be a long old video. Some of these have stories around them, most of them actually. I hope you take me seriously with this, my lovely anyway, it's not going to stay like that. First one, number one, I was very, very lucky back in 2000 to be able to go to the new camp to see Barcelona against Seville. And it was when Figo was still playing Rivaldo, and Luis Enrique and Patrick Kluivert, and it's just I was in Barcelona at the time, and we just decided to see if we could get tickets to go see a game. Rivaldo was shit, and he got taken off at half time. But we were in the cheap seats, and we were sat. If you've ever seen the new camp, I think there's a covered side and an open side. And the open side is really high, and we were almost right at the top of the open side, up by the floodlights. And it's so high up you can't hear the pitch noises. It's that high, but you know, it's still great seats. So the seats were brilliant anyway. We were right up, miles up in the sort of way back, in near the floodlights. And during the game, we all three of us were sat there and became aware there's something going on just sort of a way over in another part of the crowd. There's a bit of something going on. Couldn't tell what it was. And then all these people were looking at something, and all of a sudden, out in the middle of this group of people, in a certain part of the stadium, this thing just loomed, just flew out, and just sort of beelined for us. We went, this big thing, and then landed on the woman who sat right in front of me, landed on her jacket, and she had no idea it was there. What it was, I've remembered, I'd like to put in pictures, but the video would be too long if I edit in like exhibits of film and pictures and stuff, so I'm going to just have to put in a few links maybe to videos and stuff, but you can have to take my word for it. Now this thing came out of the darkness, this giant locust. It was massive. I'm not generally squeamish about stuff like that. I don't mind spiders and generally, and stuff. But this was just the meanest looking bastard you've ever seen. And coming from the UK, we're not really used to stuff like that outside. And it landed on this woman's jacket, and it must have been like that. And it had a neck, and it had kneecaps, and it was just huge, and it was just sitting on her jacket. She had no idea it was there. And it turned around and looked at me like that. It went, it turned its head, stared at me. I was like, oh, that is horrible. And it was quite early on. I think it was before half time, and I was literally just like a few inches away from it, and I couldn't concentrate on the game. I was going one eye on the game, one eye on this thing, just waiting for it because it had those big back legs, and stuff with back legs like that is just built for springing at people. Just go. I couldn't concentrate, so I had to move. I moved down the seat, but this thing was still there. And it came to half time, and my mate Dan just sort of like tapped her on the shoulder, and he pointed, and she went, "Wah!" and flapped her jacket, and we were right on the aisle, and the thing fell into the aisle. My mate Dan was a metaler at the time, and he had this whacking great pair of steel toe caps on, and he just booted it off into the night with his steel toe caps. And it just flew off. It didn't kill it or anything. It just sort of flew off, and it was gone. But that was horrible. It was horrible. But so number 2, slightly similar. We've got a side gate. Around there, and so there's always that time of year when spiders come out. Again, I'm not really squeamish about spiders. There's that time of year spiders come out, and you get garden spiders, and they all build webs everywhere. And the garden spiders with the best web in the best real estate. They'll get really fat, won't they? They'll catch all the flies and they get really fat. And one built a web on our side gate, and you couldn't really see it because it would build a web on the front, and it would hide right up in the corner, so you couldn't really see it. And I didn't know it was there. And the first time I went around the side to open the gate once, and I must have sort of triggered it, and it just came shooting out. Like a jack in the box, this thing's it's the biggest garden spider you've ever seen. And I just sort of jumped a mile in the air, and I couldn't help but laugh because it's really funny. This is like a jack in the box spider. I've never seen them move that fast. But what made it funny is one day I was really early in the morning. I was still in bed, and our window cleaner turned up, and he turned up really early. And so he didn't knock on the door, and so sometimes he uses his ladder to get over the gate and around the side. And I heard the ladder. I suppose I should have got up to let him in, but I could already hear him going over the side gate. And then all of a sudden I heard. I knew exactly what had happened, so that he'd been a victim to this jack in the box spider that I had. It was really funny. But number three are spooky things. This has just haunted my childhood, and it's haunted a few people's childhoods. I think Charlie Brooker pointed it out on one of his programs. It's this character from this children's sort of educational program called Jigsaw, and it was supposed to be a sort of fun-like character. It's called Mr. Noseybonk. He's basically like this bloke who used to sort of pop out from places. I've forgotten what his purpose was. I can't remember. I was quite young, and the guy playing him, I think he basically had like sort of a morning jacket on, like tails. I think something like that, or it's a black jacket generally, a suit. But he had this mask on. This mask, it was almost like a Venetian mask, but it had this really long, extended nose and these weird, spooky, googly eyes. I'll leave a link to a video, and you'll see it's just one of the creepiest things you've ever seen. And imagine it's for kids. The kids just have nightmares about it. And Charlie Brooker, I found a video when he's talking about it. He puts it really, really, really succinctly, exactly hits the nail on the head. So anybody who remembers it, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But anybody who's never seen it, probably too young, check it out, and you'll get it straight away. Number 4. if anyone remembers Ulysses 31, it's basically like a sort of kids sci-fi version of the Ulysses story. You know, Ulysses, that one. What do I sing? What do I sing? And some of the storylines were just really just dark and horrible, and just and being little kids, they confronted you with all these horrible, grim ideas, you know, just sort of death and hell and stuff. But I used to love it. It used to scare the shit out of me, but I used to love it. And one of them in particular just really stuck with me. I'm guessing they're all based on the Ulysses story, but it was this image where they're walking up this never-ending staircase, this spiral staircase, and they're just plodding up it. And the staircase is just spiraling, and they're just going up and up it. And something, there was no walls; it was open to whatever. It was an open spiral staircase with nothing stopping them dropping over the side. And something about that was just stuck with me and just creeps me out. Just really, really spooks me. The whole idea. And I mean, that's the one thing I remember about. There's a few things actually I remember about that program, but that's one of the ones that's just stuck with me the most. But number 5, shockz16 made a reference to ghoulies and how it was a bit like. He's never seen it. It was probably a bit like critters. And critters reminded me of. I remember critters, and I was probably too young to watch it. But the one thing about critters I remember is that they, at one point, they go under the bed, and I remember watching it, and just after watching it, being just petrified of the gap under my bed, being on my bed, not wanting to put my feet down over the side, because then one of these little hairy things with like poisonous spines on the back and bad language would just basically grab me or just shoot the spine into my leg. Just scared the shit out of me. For ages, and just stayed with me. Number 6, the first time I saw The Ring just creeps me. It does. It's the original Japanese version, and I know it's sort of been, that sort of lank-haired spooky girl has been overdone now, and it's sort of lost its potency. But the first time I saw it, it was one Saturday night. I think it was late on Channel 4, and I'd been out the night before. And I was really I've been hungover all that day, and I was still really bad hangover. And I'd not really slept very well, and I was just knackered. But I basically just willed myself to watch this film in this haze. So I wasn't quite with it, but I enjoyed it, and it just really spooked me out. And I was only the person in the house, and it finished really late, and it was just, it left me with this sort of creepy sense. No, I thought it was someone outside. No. And it left me this just like, you know, I was on edge. And I just remember something I could put on actually. I'll have to work this out. Something else I just remembered. But anyway, that's by the by. It put me on edge. I was just going to bed and all the lights were out. I generally don't leave lights on when it's still dark. But I opened the front door to see if any of my cats were around. And there was no one there. I just sort of paused slightly to just to make sure that none of them wanted to come in. And all of a sudden, my youngest cat just came shooting out like that, shooting out from nowhere. And she always makes this noise whenever she comes in. She sort of squeaks. She goes like that, and she did that, and just out of nowhere, I shat my pants and just jumped up in the air, and headbutted my front door because I was holding it like that, and I just went doosh. So this sort of the creepiness has sort of had a side effect where I ended up with it was sort of a bruise on my forehead, and it was, basically because of my cat. But if I'd not seen The Ring, then that wouldn't have happened. But anyway. Number 7, everyone's will know, or a lot of people will recognise this. I was scared as a dog as a kid, to the point where for a long time I can remember as a little kid not wanting to sleeping under the covers. I was sleeping under the covers. The only problem with that was that it'd get really hot, and the only place that I could find was cool enough was under my pillow. So I used to sort of sleep right under the covers with my hands under the pillow like an idiot. The only way I grew out of it is because I realised when I woke up in the morning that I'd be out from under the covers anyway. So if I'm out from under the covers anyway and I don't stay under the covers, I might as well just save myself the hassle of being too hot and just not bother. So I grew out of it. So I was scared of the dark. But number 8. Anybody in my generation will know this. Remember Terrahawks used to be on Sundays, always a little bit too late on Sundays. I used to love it, but being a little kid you get up really early. And there's nothing on Sundays. Back in the days where it was all just religious programmes in the morning, I'd wait all day and I'd ask my mum, is Terrahawks on? Yeah, it's Terrahawks on. When's Terrahawks on? And it seemed to take ages before it was on. It was always on around about 4 o'clock. But there was the lead villain. It was called Zelda. Yeah, Zelda as in Zelda, but just creepy, horrible witch thing. And this opening title sequence where it shows her sort of her brain and her brain stem and her eyes, and then this skull sort of like fills in around her, and then you get to see this sort of computer generation of her head. It was horrible. And she's horrible like a witch-like woman. Witches in general scare me, but something about this particular character is horrible. It's like a Jerry Anderson production. Nasty, and that's stuck with me as well. Brilliant programme, I recommend it to anyone. But yeah. Number 9. This one's just strange, really, because it's just consistent. It's not lost its potency over the years, and it's the head in the hole in the boat in Jaws. There's nothing that scares me quite so much consistently, and other things I've gotten used to, but the head in the hole in the boat, it's coming. And you're waiting, you're watching, and he goes down under the boat, and he's inspecting the hole in the boat, and he finds the hole, and he goes up to the hole, and then his face just looms out at you with his sort of googly eyes and this like rotten like flesh, and that's just a masterful piece of filmmaking. If it lasts that. Still has potency. I haven't seen it these hundreds of times over the years, but it's horrible. Number 10. I think I've only ever seen this once. It's just a bog standard ghost, not bog standard. It's just a proper classic ghost story. It's called Whistle and I'll Come to You. I think it's like a BBC play, and it's one of the scariest ghost stories you'll ever see. It's got a character in it, an actor, an old guy. It's from the 70s. He's a guy called Michael Hordern. You'd recognise him if you saw it. And it's basically one of the best ghost stories you'll ever see. And the main thing that everybody will recognise, the main clip that always gets used when they're talking about it, is when this sort of ghostly figure, I'm sure it's a ghostly figure, just sort of like stands up in the bed, but it's like a sheet. It's basically like the sheet stands up in bed. Or is that my imagination? There's definitely something to do with a sheet. Where the guy's in the room and he's sort of tormented by this apparition. And it's the sheet. The sheet lifts up in the bed, and it's basically a sheet in the bed. But it's absolutely terrifying. So Whistle and When I'll Come to You. I think it might have even been remade, but probably not. I've not seen the remake if it has been, but probably not remade in anywhere near as well. But if I think I'll try and remember that thing that I'd remembered. If that makes sense, and I might even do another one of these if I can come up with a bigger list, because like I said, I had way too many to think of. But it's really good fun. I urge people to have a go, because it's an open tag, and he left it open. He didn't tag anyone in particular. I'm not going to tag anyone, but it's really good fun. Thinking of the things that scare you. Ghost trains. I used to hate ghost trains. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeah, anyway, give it a go. It's good fun. It's past Halloween, but why not? Hey, what the hell? Yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, thanks for watching, and see you later. There you go. I don't think it's going to stay like this, to be honest. Like I said, it's a bit too much village people for my liking. The only problem is, if I shave it like that, that's my dad. That's what my dad looks like. And if I'm not going to do that, the only option is Charlie Chaplin straight Hitler. And I can't. I can have one of them, but I can't keep explaining to people I'm supposed to be Charlie Chaplin and not Hitler. I get the wrong sort of attention. You know, they take the attention away from the fact that it's a worthy cause. So I'm trying to join some sort of fascist cult. Well, it might not be when I get back.